Hey everybody, Jake Evans here alongside Turner Johnson as always, voices of the Big Red. We're sitting down here today with Chris Chauvin, former defensive coordinator for the Big Red, new head coach of the NBA Big Red. Coach Chauvin, great to have you here. Excited to get to talk to you today and get to learn a little bit more about you and let the NBA fandom and NBA alumni and everybody in between get to know some more about you. Welcome in.
Yeah, thank you. Glad to be here. Glad to talk about NBA football. Ready to go.
Let's do it. Yeah. First question, just kind of start here. It's been a long time since NBA has had a coaching search. It's been a long time. Marty Uvert's been here for a long time. Coached a lot of really good football games for the Big Red and had a lot of success. Kind of talk us through that process, the whole interview process, and kind of now taking on this new role and kind of what you see as the future of the Big Red.
Yeah, it was a little stressful process, but Coach U told me kind of right before that he thought about it's just time to step away, and he was ready to move on. And I know when he went and talked and communicated that to Dr. Daughtry that he thought that I would be a good replacement for him. Of course, they went through the whole search process, and I think just being here 14 years and knowing the school, knowing the football program, I've been in this league my entire career except for 1 year. Played in it at Father Ryan, coached in it at BGA, and then 14 years here. I just think I had a little bit of that experience in what NBA football has been through, and kind of just got the job. It was great. I was excited.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know exactly what it's like to be an athlete in this division, to be what it means to be a football player here at NBA. What do you think are some of the most important lessons that you've learned in your time here at NBA on the Hill since 2011 that'll help lead you on this journey as the new head football coach?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think when you think about the league and how it's changed over the last 14 years or beyond that, just I think the one thing that NBA does such an excellent job on is our focus on the entire athlete, the student, the athlete. It's not we're not trying to find just some kid that come in here as a mercenary and help our football program. We're trying to find kids that want to be here. We want to find kids that care about academics. We want to find kids that care about their athletics, but kind of that whole package. And I think that's something that we've prided ourselves on in finding those types of kids, and then taking those kids and getting them to believe that they're even better than they are. And we've had, over the last 14 years of being here, we've had kids play above and beyond their skill set just because they care about NBA and they care about the school. And they, a lot of the kids that come here at NBA, they've been in the sports camps for years, and they've dreamed about wearing NBA on their jersey. And I think it just means a little bit more. And it kind of still has that old school feeling of, you were kind of raised to go to a certain high school and you dreamed about going to high school, and then now you're at that high school. And so those are the type of kids that we've had and hopefully will continue to get, and that just care and have love for this place. So.
Yeah, and that's kind of some of the great strengths that you have within the students and the players that you've got, and kind of turning that to you, talking about your strengths as a coach. We were talking a little bit before. Coached for a long time, been in NBA for over a decade, former high school player, college player, and had a couple of stops before you got to NBA as a coach. So what kind of in all of that culminates into your biggest strengths that you think as a coach? I'm very passionate about football. I love learning, so I love diving into how other people are doing things. I would think one of my bigger strengths is I'm very adaptable. I've kind of always had this belief that if I found something that could work and I believed I could teach it, then I'm gonna try it, because there's a lot of people that are doing things very well in high school and in college, and if they're having success with it, there's usually something behind it. And if I can learn it and I can teach it and it'll benefit our kids in some way, then I believe in doing it. So I would say being adaptable, being willing to change, but being willing to change without sacrificing your core philosophy and toughness and discipline and wanting to build this culture of caring for the kids and competitiveness. But change is happening, and you've got to be willing to change with what's happening around you. So,
in your time as defensive coordinator, you spent time in the booth, on the sideline, kind of all over, and you've been able to really focus on running that defense and letting it become a well-oiled machine. And we've seen some fantastic players come through the program. But transitioning to the role as head coach, there's a certain amount of delegating that you're going to have to do. Have you given any thought about how you're going to delegate that? Because you're not going to be able to spend 100% of the time with the defense like in the past. So moving forward, moving into this season, have you given thought about plans for what it's going to look like with the rest of the coaching staff?
Yeah, I have. It's kind of what I'm doing right now, kind of this process. Still trying to figure out the best way to structure the staff, and looking to hire. Of course, replacing Coach Everard. He was offense coordinator. He was the quarterbacks coach. So I do have some spots I'm looking to fill, and as a philosophy, I think the people that I'm looking to add to the staff, or how I'm going to structure the staff, it's just finding people that believe in what you believe in. And I believe in tough-nosed, disciplined football. I believe in that you can throw the ball to score points, but you better run the ball to win a game. And so it's about finding people that will fit into that staff. And then I think where I need to fit in that whole structure of offense or defense, it just depends on the people that I can find and we can get here working at NBA. Again, I think not, potentially leaving defense, it's about, do I have someone on that side that I trust that buys into the exact same thing and can feel the same way I feel about how to approach an offense. And I think on the other side, it's the same way. If I can find the right offense coordinator that believes in what I believe in and I have trust and can give full autonomy, then I would maybe move in a different direction. So it's hard to kind of say at this point until I kind of finish that kind of staff hiring process. But it's definitely what I'm thinking about all the time, and working through it for sure.
Yeah, and kind of to that, talking about the dynamic with the staff. Obviously, all the years as a defensive coordinator, do you still plan on calling the defense? Is that something that you're going to have oversight over? Are you going to hand that off or maybe you don't know yet? Maybe that's still in flux.
Still in flux. I'm kind of leaning towards passing it off, but I love football and I love X's and O's, both offense and defense, and I'm definitely going to have some part and one side probably more than the other. But there's a lot that goes into it. I know administratively that I need to take care of, but golly, coaching football is it's the good part, the really good part of the job, and so it's hard to say that you're not going to have an involvement in that. But so.
One thing that you kind of mentioned and that we've seen is NBA has a history of getting the most out of their players, and a lot of times they might be undersized, they might be underappreciated potentially at other schools. So in this off season, what are some plans to kind of get the guys ready to go? I know a lot of guys play other sports, but how do you take this group that's known one thing their entire time at NBA and kind of get them ready to come together as a team, to work together in the summer, in the off season, and get all that ready for kickoff come August?
Well, what I think about NBA, and especially the last 14 years, is kind of what I've mentioned a little bit already, but we have a number of strengths here, but two that stand out to me is we have a great culture. We got kids that really care about the program and care about the school, and we got really smart kids. And what I've been communicating to them through their meetings is right now we're in the part of the year where we have 4 months. This is the main part of the year where strength and speed has to be built. And with our kids that play multiple sports, it is hard. And we encourage multiple sports. But what we've done is, again, it just goes to making some small changes here and there, giving them options and resources to develop. And something we hadn't done before, but we've opened the weight room up in the morning from 6:50 to about 7:25 every day. So we are highly encouraging our athletes to come there in the morning. Again, it's not mandatory. But we're trying to use some positive reinforcement. We're giving them some peanut butter sandwiches and chocolate milk in the morning. We're trying to use some positive peer pressure from their friends to say, let's go work out together. And we've started to get a great turnout. We've had 15 to 20 in the last couple of days, and I think that number is going to continue growing, which is more than we've had before. And I think they buying into understanding that in our league, in this day and age, if you aren't training, you're falling behind. And so that's kind of the major thing that we're focusing on right now in the off season is encouraging them in a positive way to get into the weight room, to put protein in their body and prepare. Okay, this is the heavy time. See, the summer is awesome. It's good training. It's 6 weeks, but 6 weeks isn't enough to get your body right for football season. So this is the time where it's got to happen.
Yeah. To kind of pivot a little bit, anybody that's watching this, listening to this, they know NBA football one reason or another. Maybe they played here, maybe their kids go here and play, or maybe they're just a fan from afar. Want to kind of dive into your background a little bit. Not a lot of people, like I said, might not fully know you as the man, as the coach. From all these years you've been here. So, grew up, played at Ryan, played at Johns Hopkins. That we're going to get a lot of fun out of that NBA Ryan dynamic over the years. We already have, I'm sure, and we'll continue to. Kind of that whole process, transitioning from playing at Ryan and going to Ryan for so many years to coming here. Kind of what was that transition like? Was it completely seamless and there was no problem to it, or was that a little weird at first? When you came over, that was right in the thick of that rivalry for sure.
Yeah, it was weird. It was a little weird at first. I remember when Coach U was considering taking the job, he asked me if I would go with him, and I told him I'd never go to that place. And then about 2 weeks later, he got the job. He said, "You coming with me?" I said, "Absolutely." And so it was just kind of the flip of the switch, and I kind of believed in Coach U and his philosophy, and he kind of took me under his wing, and I just thought it was the right place, the right move to make, and boy, I'm glad I did, and kind of over that first couple of years, just started really falling in love with the place and what it does, and just the atmosphere and the alumni. Everybody cares about the school and the program. It just feels like everyone's invested in what you're doing. And so, yeah, it was a little weird at first. It was definitely weird at first, for sure.
So I guess just a further clarifying question. As a player at Father Ryan, how many times did Father Ryan beat NBA when you were on the team?
In football, 0. We did not win one time.
Okay.
No.
Gotcha. Going past Father Ryan into your time at Johns Hopkins, I took a few notes off the website. We talked beforehand, 6 interceptions your senior year, very impressive as a defensive back. But one thing I thought was even more impressive was that we're going to go back to October 21st, 2006 against Muhlenberg. You had 1 carry for -2 yards. That's not very good, Coach.
No.
What happened there?
I honestly think it was an emergency quarterback situation, and I took a knee, is I think what happened. But honestly don't remember.
You thought you had him there.
Yeah,
You just took a knee.
I do not remember. If I played, it was in that situation. No, now I think about it. I was the holder, and I think we had a bad snap.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I was
All
holder.
right.
Yeah.
Can't have bad snaps.
No.
You know that.
That's
that.
right.
That's what NBA football is all about. It's the details. It's little stuff like that.
You shocked me on that day
Yeah.
in time. But yeah. Mule Week was a big week, so that was probably the last thing I was thinking about was my carries in that game.
Well done, attaboy Turner. To back kind of again, only a couple more questions kind of about the Ryan relationship there. When you were playing NBA growing up, what was kind of the core principles, the core foundation of what you saw on the other side of the line of scrimmage when you were playing the Big Red? Do you see a lot of that still today? Is it different? What's kind of that dynamic like against what you played against to what you are coaching now?
Yeah. Gosh.
I maybe should have fed you that one.
Yeah.
Beforehand.
When I played NBA, they were very good. Of course, they had a number of kids like we have currently, good, strong. Not overly just athletic, but just disciplined, hard-nosed players. But during that stretch, they definitely had, especially my sophomore and junior year. That's when Engel was playing quarterback. They had Dominique Morris at cornerback and running back. They had Moses Imagery was playing linebacker. They had a big old line, and they were hard. That was back when a lot of people were running. The counter, they were running the G option, and they had a great fullback. So they were very talented those years for sure. But a lot of their main, of course, they had some athletes, like I mentioned, but one of their main players are the kind of the same kids we kind of see, hard-nosed kids, care about NBA football. They were disciplined. It was hard to really sneak anything past them. They were coached well. So a lot of consistency from that point to this point, and I think it goes back to the nature of the school and the kinds of kids that they've attracted for years, and the kind of kids we want to continue attracting. But
Yeah. Last Ryan question for me. Did you ever paint the cannons personally?
No, never painted the cannons.
Good answer. Good answer. Turner.
So one of the big challenges that we've seen the past few years, you have to go back to the 2018 season. That was the last time a non-Macaulay or Baylor won the TSSAA AAA. There's a lot of talk about the different advantage that Macaulay and Baylor might have over a team like NBA who can't just bring guys in from out of state or even out of country. And I know we're focused on guys that love NBA and want to work hard. But is there anything else that you've been thinking about as ways to kind of get over that hump? Because we've been close, right? I mean, go back 2 years ago, playoffs, you got a lead at halftime against Macaulay, and then this past year at Baylor, you're right in it at halftime, and we're right there. Has you given any thought to what that next step might be, or the next gear that we can kick it into to kind of feel like we're right back there with those teams like Baylor and Macaulay?
Yeah. Well, it is definitely that's part of the changing landscape that's happened in our league, and kind of how schools are attracting athletes and working their football program. But honestly, when I talk to our kids and meet with them and talk to our coaches, honestly, it's the way the system is right now, and there's nothing we can do except go to work and prepare to win football games. And we almost kind of are putting that chip on our shoulder, which it's fine. You guys do it your way. We're going to stay true to who we are. We're gonna find the kids that want to do it the right way, and we're going to do it that way, and we are going to compete, and we're going to put ourselves in a position to play for championships moving forward. And I don't think there's an easy answer to say, how are you going to do it differently? We are who we are at NBA. We are going to attract the right kinds of kids, and we're going to coach them the correct way. And honestly, I don't want to get into any of that arms race or stuff and doing it a different way. But I think you've got to find different ways of, being willing to adapt at certain areas. You've got to, maybe be a little different offensively or defensively. You got to be willing to train different hours. We currently don't have lifting during the school day. Okay, well, how are we going to do it? Let's open the weight room before school. Let's, if we got to open it late at night, we'll find ways. And I think it's just being willing to adapt and change and look for solutions. And I think that's one thing that's always, as smart as our kids are here, they're pretty good at finding solutions or figuring problems out. And I've got to do the same thing. How can we fix this problem? How can we fight without losing ourselves? And I fully believe that there's a way to do it. It's just a matter of getting it done and finding the right way to do it.
Yeah, that talking about kind of losing yourself in that identity. That's that was something that was instilled in us. For those that don't know out there, we both played for Coach Chauvin and Coach Huberard a number of years ago, class of 2017, and so playing for him, playing for you, neither one of us were defensive players, but that was probably for the better. But kind of so many years with Coach Huberard and in this system with a lot of continuity on the coaching staff. What is kind of one of the best lessons that you learned from him? Working with him all these years, coaching under him and coaching with him.
Coach U is, of course, he was an incredible mentor to me, but he had an amazing knack of just having a gut feeling, and that gut feeling being right all the time. He was good at reading people, understanding situations, and one of the things he always taught me was, when we're watching film, and I'm kind of, one of the way I'm different from him is I'm kind of into statistics, and I really like numbers, and I like, when I break down and finding, values of how many times they do X, Y, or Z. And he always taught me that that's all great and that's perfect. You do that, but you've got to watch the film, and you've got to try to you've got to be the other coach for a minute. You've got to get in his head. You've got to feel what you think he's feeling. And it was kind of something he ingrained in me a long time ago, that all that data is great, but if you can't get a feel of a game, if you can't get a feel of a coach, if you can't get a feel of your players, it's really not going to matter in the end. So I've kind of always relied back to that, when I go through defensive game planning and thinking about a team is, there's something you have planned, but sometimes your gut is going to tell you the right way, especially if you've done it long enough. I say that's probably one of the biggest things.
What's your favorite place to go coach a game? What in the division, out of the division, since you've been here, where's been your favorite place to go and coach? Outside of Cookeville, outside of the state championship game, where do you think's been your favorite place?
Yeah, coach a game. Honestly, MUS may have been the best place. When I was calling it from up top, they put you way up top on the top of the press box. You had a great vantage point. There was no one else up there. It was just you. So calling it from there was great. I guess out of all the places, I would probably say MUS is the best place to. I'm not saying it's my favorite. I don't know if I want to use that, but it was the best place to call a game.
Had good success there earlier this year. That was a good one for us for sure.
Yeah.
All right, one more question for me, Turner. You might have a couple more, and then we want to get into some rapid fire stuff. Favorite memory in your time so far coaching an NBA?
State championship, without a doubt.
Fair
Watching that kick go wide right was awesome.
That was good stuff.
Yeah.
Remember that very, very well.
Yeah.
Turner, anything else from you? We'll go to rapid.
Yeah, no, I mean, I figured state championship was your favorite memory. What stuck out so much to me being on that team was all regular season and even the first two games of the playoffs, it was offense. But when we needed it most, your defense stepped up, held a dynamic Innsworth team to 7 points. What do you remember after that game? What do you remember feeling? I know you had to have been so proud of that whole team and that defense, but I mean, they really stuck to the game plan and they executed. What were kind of some of your feelings after that game, looking back on it now, 10 years later?
Just pride, excitement, kind of make you feel emotional. Think about those guys, Sam Sullivan and TJ and Zach playing D-line and then running all that inside zone read stuff that they thought they'd fool us on, and Bullock making that pick. I don't know, it's just pride. Just they bought in. We did not have a great. Honestly, I was back when I was going through the stats. It was statistically the worst year we had defensively while I was here. It was that state championship year, until that game, and so it was. We were undersized, and we had some pieces we had to move around throughout the year, but kind of like I've consistently had on that side of the ball, it's just kids that care and are willing to learn, and they really bought into that process, even when they were giving up points, and they were coachable. I think if any team I've ever had that was just truly coachable, those guys were great. So, yeah.
Turner, you want to go rapid fire here?
I'm good. You're nailing it.
All right. Coach, let's get to the real stuff here. How many Diet Cokes do you drink a day?
Probably 10 to 12.
10 to 12. Oh my gosh. Go to order McDonald's.
It's a good question. It used to be the nugget meal, supersized, because it used to come with the free apple pie, which is always a nice little piece, and then I'd get usually a McDouble.
Okay.
Yeah, so that was kind of my go-to.
Favorite lunch here at NBA?
Favorite lunch here at NBA. I like the fried chicken patty sandwich. Yeah, I'm pretty simple.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
French fry. I'll never turn down a French fry.
There you go.
Yeah.
Can't go wrong. Let's see here. What else we got? A little bit more about your own playing career. Mm-hmm. Best play you ever made on the field as a player?
Best field. Actually happened on this field versus NBA. Before halftime my senior year, I had like a 50-something yard quarterback scramble for a touchdown. Diving in. I don't know if I was in, but I got in. We went down at halftime 17-14. We did not score again the rest of the game, but it's probably the best play of my high school career.
Is there film out there somewhere?
There is. Actually, it was a Friday night game. Pat Sperdito, the Nashville Cats coach, was doing the play-by-play. Yeah, so I got it on tape. I don't know if I'm going to bring it in, but
we're going to find that. We're going to find that. If Turner found out what happened on October the 7th or whatever, yeah, we'll figure that one out. Any I guess cosmetic changes to the program? Anything uniform-wise? Any new traditions? Anything that we can expect to see coming this year, or is that stuff kind of just going to develop as it goes?
I think we're going to develop as we go. I want to kind of get my feet into the process of what I'm doing before I commit to doing any of those things.
Sure.
But again, for sure, I'm open to some change. I mean, I don't want to change any of the old school traditions or what makes NBA, but I'm definitely open to it for sure.
Yeah. Turner, anything else from you? Last question I got here for the crowd. I guess we're 2017 and prior. Y'all going back to belt buckle anytime soon?
I wish we could. I would love to, but with their 11-man football now,
Yeah.
they have kind of, they've done the same training we are, but we're going to do the best we can. I was actually talking to Swanee today, so we'll be at Swanee again this year.
There you go.
Yeah.
Excellent. All right. We're all good here. I appreciate it, Coach. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, thank you.
Getting to know
Yeah.
you.
Thanks.
Absolutely.
Chris Chauvin here, new head coach of NBA football. Coach, you know off the top of your head, first game this season? The date?
Pearl Cone, August 22nd.
August 22nd. We're right at about 7 months away till kickoff. It's a new era. It's a Chauvin era. We're ready to roll. So, appreciate everybody tuning in here. Jake Evans, Turner Johnson, Voices of the Big Red will be coming at you live. 94.5 FM Hippie Radio and the NBA Broadcast Network all season long. As always, Coach, appreciate you again. Excited to see what NBA football looks like now.
Yeah, appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
Thanks.
All right.